I'm going to walk you through them. The first one is wayfinding. These are directional signage. Now, by the way, every one of these is a suggestion, not a recommendation. It would be presumptuous of me to come in here and say, you should do this and this. We never talk to you first. So we call these suggestions. But I got to tell you, these signs here need to be redone. They're almost impossible to read. And I'm going to give you some rules to help you when you redo them. Number one, you can finally read this when I pull over on the shoulder and look at it with a telephoto lens. First of all, you never use serif fonts on wayfinding signs. No more than 5 items. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Never more than 5. Okay? You avoid condensed text. This is so condensed we couldn't read it until we got right on it. Lettering, 1 inch for every 30 feet of viewing distance. And you need to make sure it goes through. So for instance, if I turn right here to go to the airport, I end up in Green Bay or somewhere because there's no turns that tell you where to go north. You got to finish the job. And then the other thing I might suggest is, you know what? After about 10 years, you know, now it's been 15 years, you go, boy, this poor town, they can't win a championship for the life of them. Now, I think you should be very proud of 2002, but for visitors, they're going to say, wow, too bad their sports went downhill so bad. See what I mean? So I think you can hang your hand onto it for a while, but now you probably want to say, you know what? Let's wait till we have something new we can brag about. Because the people that won this, I mean, you know what? I don't know that there's anybody in any school, that's 15 years ago. Yeah, there's nobody in that entire, from kindergarten through 12, that's still in the schools. Those people are all out of school. So anyway, some suggestions. When we were driving around, we saw lots of things like ATV route, but nowhere did we ever see a map of ATV. Nowhere did we know where it goes. So this is all part of wayfinding. We saw a lot of these. Rustic road, I have no clue what or where the rustic road is or goes. I'm sure this is the Department of Transportation, maybe tourism, I don't know, but I didn't know where it went, where we couldn't even find any information about it. Does it still exist? Anybody know? Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. Okay. And so what we need to do is somehow put that locally to tie it together. Because we saw a couple signs, but we didn't know where it went or what it was. Okay? Then we did see this. Can you read it? No. So these are little things like you know, this might even be like a Eagle Scout project. I mean, you know what? About 99% of the stuff is low-hanging fruit. Wayfinding is not that cheap, but everything else is. So it says Embarrass River Park, I think. But we kind of thought it was there, so we drove in, and we did see all the rules and regulations, and then it says, but there was no trail maps. So we don't know whether it's an ATV park, an RV park, or a combination. If you want water, there's no water there, so you bring your jugs there and fill it up there and pay them $1. And so we were a little confused about this. It'd be nice if there was some kind of a map there that told you what, where for visitors. And then right here, we've got all these brochure holders. They're all empty. There's no maps, there's no anything. And then even signs like this are barely readable because they're fading over the years. So what it looks like is somebody, a club, an organization, city, county, I don't know who, spent a lot of time, a lot of money to develop this beautiful site, and then it's just sitting there. Nobody's really maintaining it, is the impression we got. Helmets mandatory, I think that's great, but it really didn't help us. The one place in the county that had good wayfinding was Red Springs. I mean, they were clear, they didn't use condensed text, they didn't use serif fonts, their signs were easy to read, and by the way, they were extremely helpful because without these signs, there's a lot of stuff we would have never found. Because even though we had a navigation system, by the way, a lot of your attractions are not even listed. And you can get them listed for free. Go to Navitec, NAVATEQ.com. Navitec will let you put stuff in there. And they have most of the navigation systems that are in cars and automobiles. You do it too. Right online, easy. But at least they had the wayfinding, which was very, very helpful. And then we did come up north, up 55, and we did go to Great Smoky Falls, and the rafting center. We thought it was really great. We also went over to Cecil. And by the way, the reason we're talking about wayfinding here, that was easy to find. But when we went over to Cecil, we did see a farmer's market. It says now open 7 days a week. We never could find it. I mean, is it supposed to be here? Oh, it is? So where was everybody? Okay, well, see, the problem is they should put something over that sign because visitors are going, what is this? And so so wayfinding is not just, it includes signs like that. And then we did see wayfinding also includes your gateway signs. Almost all the communities had beautiful gateway signs except Bonduel. You know, because we got this sign, right? By the way, Sportsman, can you read that? I mean, what happens is after a while we start going, boy, the businesses don't do a very good job pulling people in their doors. That's a problem you have countywide. And so, but this right here thought, boy, and by the way, gateway to recreation, you know what that means? Pass through here and you'll find it. You never use the word gateway because that means it's beyond us. So go forward. You're just a gateway is something you pass through to go somewhere else. Okay? So I would probably think about changing that. So there you go. You know, I think that's a business park. The one for Shawano was really great too, but that is really outstanding for a business park. You know, but even if you could get, I mean, Lions Park, this could be refreshed. I even thought maybe Bonduel could have their Lions Club or Kiwanis or somebody develop a better gateway sign for the community. You know, so with wayfinding, we did see this is right across the street from where we stayed in our hotel. Once again, it could be refreshed. And what I put, Eagle Scout, maybe a high school, somebody should take these signs in every few years, you know, because you have harsh winters and some rain and stuff. But Shawano Pathways, a great map right here. And guess what? There were brochures in there, and it was excellent. So we actually took the brochure out and said, okay, let's go see if we can find this trailhead. So we drove down that road, and sure enough, it was right there. Great job. Now that's for Shawano trails. We never found any other information on the other trails. You have two big trails that intersect at Eland, but we never could find maps. We couldn't find anything. We just knew they were there. When it comes to wayfinding, it also includes signs like, we have no clue what this is. What is it? Is it an arena? What is it?
Hockey.
Oh, it's a hockey. So it's ice. Is it one rink or is there multiples?
One rink.
One rink. See,
We use it as an exposition center, so it's part-time hockey. It holds our
Okay.
home show. At one time, it was part of the 4-H
Okay.
project for horses.
So what you might do is what I would suggest, put Crawford Center, you might even put exhibition hall or exhibition and hockey or something, because we didn't know and we couldn't find any information. Now, we weren't online at the time. We probably could have dug it up. But when we're driving around, just kind of get a feel for it, it looked like a great place. We have no clue what it is. One of the problems you have in the county is you tend to promote organizations and facilities more than the experience, what they're there for. And I think you need to change that thinking. Like, you have lots of historical societies. I think there are museums, but the sign would just say Historical Society. So we don't know whether it's an office or whether it's a museum. And so you always need to sell the experience. So, wayfinding. And by the way, we found the Crawford Center by accident. A lot of these things we found by accident. Most people wouldn't be driving around like us. They'd be looking for signage. You know, here is a building at the airport. We never could find the terminal building. Is this the terminal building? Yes. Then why does the sign say Scenic Flights, Instruction, Maintenance, Charter, Shawano Flying Service? See what I mean? It just disconnects like that. This is why you need to do wayfinding. Even finding the parks where the ski shark is. We found these because we were looking at a little map saying, I think if we go down this road and that road, we'll eventually find it. Some of these had some signs, some of them didn't finish the job. So we had to really look. Most visitors, if you want a pleasant experience, make it easy. You know, and even downtown, you have parking, but the signs for public parking are not on Main Street, they're on the back streets. If I'm driving down this street and I don't see parking, there should be signs here that just, now there's one right here. There's one there, there's one or two, but it's not prominent. And so I think one of your top priorities is make it easier for people to spend time and money here. When people have a pleasant experience, they spend more money. So wayfinding includes visitor information, restrooms, parking. Tell us where this stuff is. We never saw any signs for public restrooms anywhere. And by the way, relieved visitors spend more. It's true. Attractions and activities, boat launches, public access points to the lake, trail markers, access points for those, visitor information kiosks beyond just the main one. Each town should have visitor information kiosks. We'll talk about that later. But pedestrian wayfinding, once we're downtown, you have some shops that are kind of off Main Street in Shawano, and even in some of the other smaller towns. By the way, wayfinding, no more than 5 items. Here they have 4, but they also have some because they're 2 lines. That's wayfinding. You know, here's another sample. This is Woodlands, Texas. Very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 6 here, but they put this line here so that if you're looking for conference centers, it's really easy to see. Once again, avoid the text. I'll give you a great case history. Appleton. Appleton put these signs, they put up 18 of these signs. They put them on existing power poles. And by the way, yes, they kind of broke some of the rules, but they used big enough lettering that you could see them pretty easy. And by the way, they put up 18 of those signs and they saw their retail sales services increase by more than 10%. This is an investment, not an expense. And by the way, they used an aqueous coating, so ice, graffiti won't stick on it, stainless steel hardware. And so here's the deal. It plays an important role in your branding efforts, the look and feel of them. It's a major component in your marketing efforts because the navigation systems we use to find things we already know exist. Wayfinding tells us about stuff we didn't know you had. And that's a big difference. It reinforces a part of the experience. It increases the spending. It educates visitors and locals about what you have and where it's located. It builds community pride. And it's as much a science as an art. It is not a public works project. And there you go. Studies show that wayfinding will increase retail services between 14 to 28%. That's why you do wayfinding. Very, very important. There you go. Navigation systems are not a substitute for wayfinding. Okay? That should be one of your top priorities. That is a fairly expensive item. But I think if you did it countywide, now just use Shawano County. If you did countywide, you say, okay, Wittenberg, you have this many miles of streets or this population, here's your portion, and Gresham, and all the towns could pitch into it. Maybe the county pitch in for county roads. You bring in the Department of Transportation. By the way, there's federal grants for some of this to help offset it. It's one of the things you need to do, okay? But then there's business signage. I also want to talk about that. And curb appeal. When we see, this is Maple Hills Golf Course. When you drive up, this is what you see. And by the way, I would put a landscape, your golf, curb appeal is everything. And so I would cut these out. I put 4 feet up here. You could do a 2-foot buffer here and just landscape the front of this. Because that's the first thing we see. And by the way, does the Maple Hills, do they offer public play? They do. Is it 9 holes or 18? 9 holes. Okay. Is there a restaurant? Only 3 people said yes. Okay. Is there a pro shop? You see, you don't even know. Okay. Do they have card club rentals? I mean, there's no signs anywhere that says they have any of that. They could fix this for $300 and a nice sign just mounted right here. However, we were there and I thought, you know what, I got to go take a picture of the golf course. So I did see all these golf carts, so I assumed they're renting them, okay? And then I saw it was a beautiful course, and I looked around back and I went, oh my gosh, where did that come from? How many people are driving by and going, not a chance? You know, visitors are not very good. We judge the book by the cover, and the cover was terrible. But back there, it's phenomenal. It's beautiful. They look like a great place to just hang out. Could use some stain and some paint, you know, but other than that, it looked good. So this is about businesses. What are you doing to pull people in the door? You know, here's the general store. I think this was in Buller, right? Turns out it's a great store. I mean, it had a great little sitting area out here. But then when it comes to signage, we see stuff like this: Headquarters for Native American Creations. And really, is this shed the headquarters for Native American Creations? There is a room in the back of the store that's got lots of locally made Native American arts and crafts, and it's great. We bought stuff back there. But when you do this, it doesn't say in the store or anything. We just assume this must be it, and it was closed. These are the things that businesses need to get a handle on. I mean, here we go, Shawano Lake Golf. You know what? I'm going to pick on all the golf courses. Shawano Lake Golf Course. We know you have a bar because there's a sign there. Golfers, please register at bar. But even the sign, it's tilted. It looks like it hasn't changed since 1976. You know, but at least it has a table of chairs. It's got some nice landscaping. You know, so I redo this sign a little bit. You go, you know, it looks like a nice, you know, is this open for public play? Yes. It is. 9 or 18? 18. See what I mean? Where's the information? And now some locals may be saying, we don't want visitors to find our golf course. And in that case, fine. So we did go down to Golden Sands. Now this one here, number one, good sign, 18 holes, public, woohoo! In 3 seconds, I know. By the way, with signs, 4 seconds. Signs and billboards, 4 seconds. That's why you have 5 items on Wayfinding, but on business signs, you have 4 seconds. But in 4 seconds, I can see it's golf, it's 18 holes, and it's public. And I see we're serving prime rib, so I know they have a restaurant. You know, so and it says bar and grill, lunch, Friday, fish fry, homemade pizzas. Really good. That's enough. Now, we don't know if they have a pro shop and everything, but we can get enough there that they probably do. If they've got that stuff, they probably do. And then if you go around the back, you can see we have an outing right here, another event going on there. Pro shop, easy. So one golf course that made it easy for us as visitors, and if we would have played, this is where we would have gone, because they made it inviting and welcoming. You know, so when it comes to businesses, even classics. So we're having dinner classics. So we pulled into the parking lot, and we didn't know whether you go in this door or that door. And so we went back to this door, walked in, it was a bar. So then we said, no, we want to go to the restaurant, not the bar. So then we walked out, walked over to this door, walked in, there's nobody there. Finally, somebody came and said, oh, no, you need to go back to that door, and then they'll walk you through. And so, by the way, the food is fantastic. I love the music theme. I came from the concert industry originally. And so, you know, it would have been helpful if they would have just put a small sign here that just said, start here. Just something. The easier you make it for people, the more pleasurable the experience will be. And by the way, it's great starting here and then walking down, you know, if you've all eaten there, that whole corridor of records. And I went down and said, well, you stole that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Yeah, most of them. And so it was a great dining experience, except for that. We just didn't make it easy. Now, this, I believe, is out in Cecil. Is that right? Oh, is this in Tigerton? What's the name of this restaurant? Okay. It's hard to find restaurant in TripAdvisor. Most restaurants have a name, and I just kept going, well, if you have a name, tell us what it is so we know if you're good. We can find you on Yelp or whatever. And by the way, not a shred of landscaping or beautification. And so I said, so Jane, do you want to eat there? And she goes, absolutely not. Now, you have to understand that women make most of the decisions, and they go in places that look welcoming, they look attractive, and they feel safe. That's what beautification does. As a matter of fact, you're going to get some fast facts, and there's the first one. 70% of first-time sales can come from curb appeal. We all travel. Have you ever said these exact words? That looks like a nice place to eat. We all have done it. And that one doesn't. So when I hear people go into cities say, what are you doing for me? I go, what are you doing for yourself? Or they go to tourism and say, well, my business is down, and if I was there, I'd be going, well, no wonder, look at your place. You know what happens is a lot of times as employees who walk in the back door, we never ever look at it from the eyes of a customer. This is Nina. So you don't have to go very far. We believe cities should do the curbside. Property owners and businesses should always do the facade side. Before, after. Retail sales went up 35% in those shops just by doing that. And so, I mean, this is in Ontario in the middle of the winter. There's just no excuse. In Door County, you don't have to go that far to find good examples. This was a pizza place in Door County. This was all asphalt right up to the building. So the owner went and put down AstroTurf, or now they call it synthetic turf. He put down these little planters. Then he put these pyramidal shrubs here. Then he put these tables, umbrellas here. His business quadrupled. Door County. I mean, does it make you want to go in? So when I see businesses like this, my first assumption is that this motel is long gone and out of business. Does anybody know? It's in business? No cars, no beautification, nothing on this sign, nothing on this sign. All we see is Rockabye Inn. I went by. Lots of weeds covering the signs. I mean, remember what I said? The top 15% of hotels in terms of quality do 85% of the business? I mean, why don't you put some tables, chairs, put just 3 or 4 feet of land, anything that tells us you're still in business. In this county, I think the businesses are their own worst enemies. You know, I mean, use the sign, paint it, paint the post too. It's all rusted. It's going to fall down in a couple of years. Use the leaderboard or reader board right here. I mean, either that or put it in the back if you're not going to use it. Cut the weeds, add landscape. I mean, it seems to me this stuff would be so obvious. So sometimes it takes somebody like me to come in and be just brutal to shake people up. But, you know, I mean, here we go, Wittenberg Area Historical Society. Is this a museum or is it just their archives and offices? Anybody know? Museum. It's a museum. How would we know it? So what you need to do is always promote the experience, not the organization. So if you put Wittenberg Museum, then we'll go in. We didn't go in because we assumed that it was just their offices or archives. You know, even in this case, home of Wittenberg Trailblazers, why don't you promote the sport, I mean, I know that if you're a snowmobile club, having a grooming machine is expensive and everything, but don't promote the grooming machine, promote the trails. Promote the experience. You know who the master of is in this whole county at promoting? Newskies. Love these old trucks everywhere. So, I mean, I just thought, easy to read, you know what it's about, really cool. And by the way, signage, it's perpendicular to the street, get out of the heat, buy some Newski meat. You know, they make it really easy. Really well done. But then why are other businesses ice, $1.50? Why don't you put something up here that says Sundays, $3, do anything you can, you got it, use it. Matter of fact, you have a company here that makes the channel lettering. So, you know, here, I thought this was funny. It looks like the wind got it. Just pushed everything down to that end. You know, double bubble, 3, 2, 5. And every day, I mean, you know, and it just went, that cracks me up. By the way, that was there all week. It's still probably there just like that. Nobody looks at it. So these are the challenge. You know, business should always walk in the front of their stores. The other thing businesses, that was in Bowler, by the way. This one here is in Gresham. This is a gorgeous store. I think it's out of business, is it?
No, it's a bar.
It's a bar. How would anybody even know what it is? All it says is Mohawks. I don't know whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a bar, whether it is anything. Always promote what it is you're selling before the name. I love what they did. I thought it was really cool, but I had no clue what it was, and so there was no incentive to go in. You know? I mean, this here, what Mary said, you have 4 seconds, so we got styling at Mr. B's, we got massage, haircuts, color tanning, we got a phone number, I think that's last minute, but the S fell down, shopping. We have gift certificates. They have so many signs here, you have to stop, get out of your car to read them all. So it's best just to keep it simple. But by the way, great curb appeal there. They did a good job. This one here, I assume, is out of business. It is, okay. Now here's the deal. In all of your towns, including Shawano, you have a lot of vacancies. If it's not obvious that you're in business, we're going to assume that you're not. That's why beautification, signage is so important. So this one, we figured if not, use the reader board, you know, paint it, all of that. We saw bikes, and I mean, so we assumed that was already gone. And so here's Shawano County Heritage Park in Shawano. And so for this one here, we would love it if they would put interpretive signs out in front of the buildings, because these are generally volunteers. They have a beautiful thing here. Here it is. There's the reception center, so you start right here. They were actually had a meeting when we were there, and they were willing to open it up for us and everything. But generally what happens with a lot of these museums, they're only open certain days of the week or only certain days of the month, or some of them are only open like 5 days a year. And so you can still make us enjoy it if you put interpretive sign that says, here's this house. And by the way, with interpretive signs, they do have this there, the first sawmill on the Wolf River. But when it comes to these homes and the churches, we don't need to know who the architect was. We don't need to know who donated it. We don't need to know who lived there. What we want to know is some fun, interesting facts, you know, about the church, how long it took to build. This was actually relocated here. But we didn't know that until she showed us around, or told us about them. Beautiful, great buildings like this. But it would be cool if there was a little sign in front of each one that just told some fun facts about these. You know, like the church. How is that heated in the winter when it's below 0? Did they have a stove in there? Did parishioners bring firewood? How did they? We want the fun things so we can get immersed in what it was like. And so little things like the log cabin, we're going, you know, and they brought that log cabin somewhere. I thought it was really cool because they said, well, we used to have those curtains closed, but one of our young volunteers said that we should keep those curtains open. I said, darn straight, because we looked through the windows. We could see a spinning wheel in there. We could see their dining room table. We could see the rope beds they used. Cool. But it would have been great if there would have been some interpretive signs saying when it was built, how much it cost to build in those days, where they got the lumber from, anything that's fun and factual. Okay? And the same with all of these. Got some great buildings, but there's no information. So, you know, when we come out here, we drove by this bakery 4 times wanting to go in there. People said this was an incredible Amish bakery. We went by early in the mornings, we went by in the afternoons, we went by late mornings. The close sign was up every single day. So if you talk to the Amish folks, tell them just put when you're open on the sign. We'll come back. We went out there 4 times to try to find that bakery open.
And they're relocating.
Somebody at the large store, they said, well, I think they're rebuilding to another location. Yet a guy at the large store says, no, they're still open here until they build over there. So, at the Milky Art Center, the first couple of times we went there was pouring down rain. So then we went there and figured, okay, let's walk back there. But once you walk back there, all you see is a building. There's no signs. There's one sign that says ticket office. I suppose this is the ticket office. But I'd paint some murals out here. It's an art center. I would hang a sign right here that says, here's upcoming events for 2017. Anything. And by the way, they're cleaning it all up. I felt sorry for the guys because we had kind of a rough week. They had a wedding there on, I think it was Saturday, right? And it was really cool. We didn't crash the wedding, but they were working really hard. But when you go there, you walk back the trail and you're kind of like going, whoa. And they do have a little electronic reader board out there, but when you're going by at 40 or 45 miles an hour, you can't read it. You don't know what all's in there. And most people won't stop and wait for it to scroll through a bunch of things. So somewhere there, they should say, here's the things that are happening here this year. I didn't see any of your organizations, including the fairground, ever inviting any visitor back. The fairgrounds, they put out August 2nd was going to be whatever the race was this last Wednesday. As of this morning, it still says August 2nd race. I'd be out there the next day inviting people back for the next event. So the other thing I want to talk about are blade signs. And this goes for all your towns. When we walk down a street or drive down a street, we see signs that are perpendicular to us. Can you tell me what's in any of those shops? No blade signs. And so I want to talk about these just for a second. Those are blade signs. By the way, something really simple here. Chocolate, collectibles, trains, restaurant. Blade signs. That's in Leavenworth, Washington. This is in Nantucket. This is in Carmel, California. This is in Valparaiso, Indiana. A little bigger, so the signs are slightly larger. This is Canmore, Alberta. There's some general rules for you, blade signs. I've been in towns that don't even allow them. I say change the ordinances. Blade signs. Kitchen boutique, perfect. Because I have no idea what's in these shops. There's no blade sign. This one here I only see as I'm driving back. By the way, with a person in their car, their line of sight goes no higher than 12 feet. So you have signs way up there, nobody can read them. So I think you should go buy go to a sign company and say, okay, sign company, we want to do a bulk deal. We'll refer all of our downtown businesses to you if you'll give us like a third off, because we want to start putting blade signs up and down these streets. Because I have no clue. By the way, this guy right out here was carrying this out. We are open. He had to tell people we are open with a sign because he has no blade signs to say they even exist. So, by the way, we did not eat there because it was rated number 26 of 28 restaurants in the Shawano area. TripAdvisor, you better pay attention to TripAdvisor, all of you, because that is a Bible to most people. Is it infallible? No. So these are the challenges. The only way I know what's in these shops is from across the street. The only way I would know a lot of these is to walk out in the street and look up there. And that's the problem with things like this. You just can't see it. Or even here. Oh, Mojo Electronics. How would I know that down here? I have to walk out in the street and look up there. And so that is the power of blade signs. Perpendicular. By the way, for Till the Cows Come Home, really, really cute store. That's the gal who told us about the Sunflower Festival. I have no idea what they sell. And not everybody is just going to walk in to find out. Really important. And then this store, I have a feeling this was empty and the pharmacy said, hey, can we just do a pop-up store? Does anybody know? Okay, because there's no signs at all. But they had the door open, they had a flag in there, we went in there and they had a lot of stuff in there. So I think that's what the pharmacy did. So I thought that was cool. So that's not a criticism, unless it was going to be a permanent store. But the deal is, a good share of your business do little or nothing to pull customers inside. This is not rocket science. Okay? And almost all your business could fix all of this for a couple $100.